All right, everyone, welcome back to another module here in the Academy. Now, as you might have already noticed, this phase is going to be breaking down all of the most efficient methods that you can go ahead and utilize to find clients and reach out to those clients, okay? But there is one tool which you have already seen in the tools and systems module that broke down all of the tools and systems that you're going to be using. There is this one tool that literally will make all of these outreach methods 2 to 3 times more effective, okay? And that's what we call it, the catalyst, okay, to these outreach methods, okay? Now, if you don't know what a catalyst is, it's essentially, if you remember science class in school, right, where you had some chemical in a glass bottle, and when the chemical was just by itself, nothing would happen, right? But if you add another chemical, a particular chemical to the equation, well, then there'll be a little explosion, right? Well, that's called a catalyst, right? When you have something that's okay by itself, and then you add something to the equation and there's an explosion, okay? This tool that I'm going to teach you how to use in this module is the catalyst to all of these outreach methods that you're going to be learning to use in this phase, okay? So yeah, that tool is Calendly, and as you've already heard in the tools and systems module, Calendly is what we use to schedule meetings in with potential clients, okay? It's essentially just an online software that makes it 5 times easier for a potential client to book in a meeting with you, and also for you not to have to manually schedule in that meeting and find a time slot that fits the client schedule. That's a really time-consuming process, and in the end that can result in you emailing the potential client back and forth 5 times in order to try and find a time slot that suits both of you, right? That's where Calendly comes in and just systemizes and streamlines that process tremendously, and actually makes it kind of an interesting experience for the potential client to book in a meeting with you, okay? Because what you'll notice is that a lot of these prospects and potential clients may never have tried to book in a call through a Calendly scheduling page before, or maybe they've only done it once or twice. And in all honesty, it's actually kind of a pleasurable experience, right? It's quite a nice experience to book in a meeting through a Calendly page. So that kind of makes it intriguing. And so not only does it become easier for the client and for yourself to scheduling that meeting, it also becomes a little bit intriguing for the client, right? And it actually ups your chances of them scheduling in a meeting with you because it just is so professional, okay? And so essentially, as you would have heard in the systems and tools module, what happens when a prospect books in a meeting with you through your Calendly page is that the meeting is automatically imported into your calendars, into your calendar or your team's calendar. For me, it's both imported into my calendar and my team's calendar, and then it's also automatically imported into the prospect, okay, so the potential client's calendar, okay? And so when it's time for the meeting, you can literally just click the link, both of you, in your calendar and jump onto the same Zoom meeting. That's how simple it is, okay? Back in the days, 2.5, 3 years ago, when I was scheduling meetings with clients, first of all, it was a back and forth process, trying to figure out a time slot that suited both of us. And then when the time finally came for the meeting, on the day of the meeting, I'd send out a Zoom link manually to this prospect, maybe 5 or 10 minutes before the meeting, okay? It was a very manual process, very time consuming, and just not very professional, streamlined at all, okay? And so yeah, that's where Calendly comes into the picture as the catalyst to all of your outreach methods. And I'm saying this from experience. It can 2 to 3x the amount of meetings you're going to be able to schedule through your outreach, okay? Because it just makes it that much easier to schedule a meeting with you. So without any further ado, let's jump into my computer and I'll show you exactly how to set up Calendly, how to use it, and the different event types that we need to know in order to use Calendly, okay? All right, guys, you should now be looking at my screen, and many of you might be thinking, well, Sander, why are we looking at your beautiful website? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because, as many of you would have noticed, at the bottom of the Stacey Digital website, there is a Calendly integration directly embedded into our website, okay? Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is the Calendly integration. Now, during the website phase where you learn how to set up your website, you'll also be taught how to actually make this implementation, okay? So how to embed your Calendly scheduling link into your website, okay? So you'll have the same thing working for you on your own website, okay? If you just want to see an example, we can pull up Pink's website right here, who's a member of the Academy, and he will have, as you will be able to see, he will have his own, if it load up, yeah, you can see his own personal Calendly scheduling page, okay? So you guys will have your own embed in here, okay? And so this is actually event type number 1, okay? This is the basic one, which we just call the SD strategy meeting event, okay? And essentially why this is base number one, and why we need multiple different ones is because there are different scenarios in which a prospect can schedule in a meeting with you, okay? So in this scenario, when someone lands on our website and they want to book in a call with us, we don't necessarily know who they are, right? It could be any random business that we've never seen before that wants to work with us, okay? And so for this reason, it's really important that we vet the clients a little bit in this particular event, okay? Because as I said, it could be any random business that wants to schedule a meeting with me. And so me or a team member is not just gonna jump on a meeting with a random business without us actually knowing something about them, okay? And so that's why this particular event type includes a couple of different questions, okay? So what you'll see if you go ahead and pick a time slot, click confirm, in order for them to book in a call with us, they have to put in, well, first their name, their email, and then actually have to answer a range of different questions, okay? And pick some multiple choice answers right here, okay? So yeah, you can see they have to link their business website. They have to link their business's social media accounts. They have to describe their business's value proposition or what they sell. Then they have to let us know how much revenue their business is currently doing on a monthly basis, what they feel like is currently holding them back from growing their profits. And then they have to select how much they're ready to spend on advertising per month, okay? Now these are, and finally here, if our meeting goes well, how ready would you be to enter a partnership with Stage Digital, okay? And then you can select, we'd be ready to get started right away. We need a couple of weeks to sort everything out, or we're just doing future research. We're not ready to get started yet, okay? So as you can see, these are all very precise questions that vet the client before we actually jump on a meeting with them, okay? And so, in quite a lot of scenarios, especially for us, because we're so picky with the clients we choose to work with, if they make the wrong answers here, we'll just cancel the meeting. And you guys can do that directly through Calendly, okay? You can literally just, go on the page where you can see all your future scheduled events. And then if there's, an event that you, like a meeting that you don't want to take, you can just click cancel. And then there's a little box where you can provide a reason for your cancellation, okay? So if you don't want to be rude, but you want to cancel a meeting, you can just press cancel and then write in, we don't see you as a fit for our business. That's why we're canceling the meeting, okay? Now, essentially we do this, usually if a business selects that they're only doing between $0 and $10,000 euros per month, okay? Now guys, you're gonna be able to make this in dollars or whatever currency you want to make it in, okay? We put it in euros because most of our clients are based in Europe. We also have clients in the US, Canada, Australia, etc., who, are using dollars, different types of dollars, obviously. But as most of our clients are in Europe, we're using the euro sign here. But as I said, you're just gonna be able to customize this to your own liking, okay? Now, as I was saying, if a client selects this one, right, there's already a good chance that we will cancel the meeting unless they have some really, really nice answers in all of the other fields. And we see a huge growth potential for them that we like to assist them with, okay? But in many cases, just, them selecting this one is enough for us to cancel the meeting because they're just not big enough to work with us, okay? But in your case, in a lot of you guys' case, you're just gonna be starting out, and in that scenario, you're not gonna be as picky, right? And you're gonna be able to work with smaller clients, okay? And so, yeah, that's the first event type, okay? And that's the ST strategy meeting. Now, to show you the other ones, we're actually gonna jump into Calendly, okay? So if you already have a Calendly account, that's great. I suppose maybe 1 to 5% of you might already have a Calendly account. That's great. If you don't, literally just go to calendly.com and sign up. It's that simple. Use your email, create a password, and sign up, and then you'll actually land on this dashboard page, okay? Now, the first thing you might want to do when you jump in here is click account, click account settings, and then click branding, okay? And under branding, you can put in your logo here, okay? So this is a really good idea to insert a logo because on your scheduling pages, the logo will show up. And as you can see, it's also showing up on our website right here. At the top, okay, so that just makes it look a little bit more premium. If we go home and look at event types, and I actually copy, for example, this one, and we go to the page, you guys will also be able to see our logo right here. Okay, so it's a really good idea to just start out by inserting a logo under branding under your settings, okay? Now, once you land on your dashboard, you'll see all of your different event types, okay? Now, as you can see, I could even click show more right here, and that's because I have quite a lot of different event types, okay? Now, you guys are not gonna have a lot of different event types. In fact, you're only gonna have 3 primary ones, and those are the ones we're going to be talking about in the academy, okay? And in this particular module, we're actually just going to be talking about the 2 first ones, okay? The 2 primary ones, because the third one is just for existing clients, okay? In this module, we're talking about the event types you need to empower your outreach, okay? And for that, you need two different event types, okay? So the first one is the one you have already seen on my website, the SD strategy meeting event type. That's the one that includes the questions, okay? Now, if you jump onto my screen, you'll see that one right here, okay? That's the Stage Digital strategy meeting, okay? So that's for potential clients that are booking a call with us through our website, and they're cold leads, okay? We don't know them, they only know us, right? So we have to ask them a couple of questions. Now, the second one is the SD strategy meeting by invitation only, okay? And as you'll see, there's the hidden sign here, and that's because, yeah, you can only land on the scheduling page if you have an invitation, okay? So I put in quotation marks, invitation, okay? Obviously, you can only land on the scheduling page if we've personally sent the link out to you, okay? And so if we just go ahead and copy it and open it up, you guys will see that it's a little bit different because there's no questions, okay? They can literally just, confirm and put in their name and their email and anything they might want to share, but this is completely optional, and then they can schedule in the event, okay? So there's none of these vetting questions that we had in the long form one, and that's because this is the one we accompany with our outreach, okay? So when we include our Calendly link in a cold email to a prospect, right? Or when we send out a Loom, which you guys are going to be learning how to do these things during this phase. But when we actually do that, we want to send out this, personalized one, this by invitation only scheduling link. And that's because, we don't want to find a company that we really want to work with, write them a really nice email complimenting all different areas of their business, and then send them to a scheduling page where we're also vetting them and where we're asking them to fill out all these questions, right? That's not very nice, right? Because that just seems completely unpersonalized. So all of those vetting questions are only for businesses that you don't know and that want to book in a meeting with you through your website, right? If you've already vetted the website, if you've already vetted the client and you know that you want to work with them, then there's not really any reason to ask those questions up front, because you can ask them on the meeting, okay? You can ask them on your first meeting. You can ask some of these key numbers. So how much you're ready to spend on advertising per month? What's your current revenue? What's your current monthly revenue, right? You can ask those questions on the meeting, because imagine, put yourself in a scenario, right? You're receiving an email from a marketing company that wants to work with you, right? They're telling you, oh, they really like your company. They've been researching you all over the internet, looking at your websites, your current marketing strategies, etc. And then they're asking you to book in a meeting with them, and you land on a scheduling page where they're asking you all of these different questions, right? You're just gonna exit that page because that seems kind of rude. They just told you that they vetted you and researched your business completely, and now they're asking you about all these, impersonal questions, right? And so that's why we have these two different types of events: the SD strategy meeting for the website for cold leads that have to be vetted through all these questions, and then the SD strategy meeting by invitation only for warm leads. Well, at least leads that we've already vetted personally that we then invite to a meeting, okay? And so what we'll do now is I'll show you how to set up both of these event types inside of Calendly, okay? So guys, you should now be looking at my dashboard again. Now, to create these event types, we're gonna be starting off with the questionnaire one, okay? So you're gonna come up here to create, click event type, then you're going to select one-on-one, and then you're going to give it a name, okay? So let's say your agency is called HD, so ours is called SD, right? Yours is going to be called HD, and then strategy meeting. Strategy meeting, okay? And then here for the description, you can copy paste ours, okay? And so what we've actually done is we've created the sheet for you, okay? Now this includes the free text, both for the invited event and the cold event, okay? And so right now we're creating the cold event with the questions, and so you can copy paste this text, okay? Now obviously you want to tailor it a little bit to your business, so you don't want to have my agency name here, you want to have your own agency name here, and essentially you can customize it however you prefer, but it's a good base text, okay? And so for the location, you want to select Zoom, okay? Because the meeting is going to be on Zoom. Then you can select a custom color, and we just stick with this one, and then we click next, okay? And so here you have a couple of important options, okay? So as default, it's going to be set to 60 calendar days into the future, okay? So this means that when a prospect lands on your scheduling page, they can literally schedule a meeting with you 60 days into the future, okay? Now that's way too much, that's 2 months. And ideally, if we have a prospect that we want to have a meeting with, we want to have it in the near future, not in the distant future being 2 months, right? So you can set this between 7 to 14 days, okay? Now, 14 days is kind of nice. You can also do 7 days if you're kind of a little bit picky and you just want to have meetings quickly. But if you're reaching out to business owners that you know are quite busy, then giving them 14 days to find a slot that fits their calendar might be a better idea. Okay, so let's leave it at 14 for now. Then the duration, you can set it either at 30 minutes or 45 minutes, okay? 15 minutes is too little. 60 minutes seems like a too big of a commitment for most business owners, okay? So we leave it at 30 minutes, but you can also leave it at 45 minutes. Both of these are very good options, okay? Sometimes we actually alter it to 45 minutes, but right now it's set to 30 minutes. So both of these are very good options, okay? And then you have to select your schedule, okay? So this is your availability. This means that this is the available times that will display for your prospect where they can book in a meeting with you, okay? Now you can either use an existing schedule and you can make some default hours. Now you can do that by coming back out to the homepage right here and then going to your availability. And under availability, you'll be able to set some default hours that you can use across all events. But for now, let's just set some custom hours for this particular event, okay? And so you actually obviously want to come down, you have all the days of the week. And so what you can do is you can either edit, one day. If you click this one, it will only edit Monday, the 23rd of August, okay? But what I recommend doing is you edit all Mondays, right? So you can say, okay, on Mondays, you're available for meetings between 8 and 10, and 11 and 13. Actually, let's go 8 to 11, right? And then you have lunch at 11 perhaps. And then from 12 to 14, you're available. And then you want to work from 14 to 16, but you're available again from 16 to 18, okay? All right, guys, and so you can customize your availability for all different days of the week, okay? So now we just made it for all Mondays of the month, but you can do the same for all Thursdays of the month or all Wednesdays of the month. And as you can see, if there's one day of the week where you just don't want to have meetings or you're unavailable, you can literally just make yourself unavailable on that day of the week all month, so you can set your custom hours for the different days of the week. And yeah, that's it, okay? Moving on, it's quite a good idea to add this buffer, 15-minute buffer. Essentially what this will make is a buffer inside of your calendar. So you can't have, meetings in the same minute as your other meeting ends, okay? Because what you'll notice, for example, if you set this event to 30 minutes, sometimes it'll drag out to 45 minutes, right? But if you have the availability that someone could, book in a meeting directly after your current meeting, then you might have to cut your meeting short, right? You might not be able to stretch it to 45 minutes. So adding this buffer will not allow any events to be scheduled in until 15 minutes after your meeting, okay? Yeah, the same goes for before, but you can even deselect before, okay? Let's just leave both of them on. So next, now essentially your event has been created, it's ready to use, but what you want to do is add a couple questions, right? Because this is for the cold event. So as you can see by default, we have name, email, and then anything that will help us prepare, right? But you want to add a couple different ones, right? So you can select a one-line answer, that's just a free text, or you can select, for example, checkboxes, right? So that's multiple answer. And so, yeah, you guys literally just have to duplicate all of the questions that we have on ours. And what we've actually done for you inside of the sheet is we've copy pasted all of them here. And then we've altered them a little bit for you guys. Okay, so some of these numbers we've made a little bit smaller for those of you who are beginner agency owners, just because you guys might be willing to work with a company who's only doing, let's say, $3,000 or $4,000 per month in monthly revenue, which we wouldn't work with a client like that. But if you're just starting out, you should pretty much work with any client you can, right? So we've lowered some of these numbers, and you can even lower them further, right? If you are not comfortable working with companies that are doing, let's say, more than 50K per month, you could literally just delete this one and then put this one at 50K, right? And so then you would know if someone is doing more than 50K per month. Okay, so you can customize them however you want. And we've done the same thing for how much is your company ready to spend on advertising per month. As you know, we're not really ready to work with anyone who's, ready to spend less than 10,000 per month. But for you guys, your first client is enough if they're willing to spend $1,000 or $2,000 per month, right? So we've decreased some of these numbers as well, but everything else remains the same, okay? And so, yeah, just literally go ahead and duplicate our questions. It's very self-explanatory how to do it. You just add a new question, you apply. Okay, so you have to fill them out, right? So click cancel, add new question, right? It's really self-explanatory how to add these questions and add in the different checkboxes, the one-line answers, etc. Just copy paste all of the ones that we have in here, okay? So it's that simple. Now, literally for the other event type that we had to create, so let's click leave. Now we just create the cold one, right? With all the questionnaires. To create which is this one, Okay, it moved a little bit now. We just created this one, right? The SD strategy meeting with the questionnaire. The other one you have to create is the SD strategy meeting by invitation only. Now, this is the exact same process. You just don't add the questions at the end, right? That's literally, it's the exact same process. Nothing changes. You just don't add in those questions at the end, and it's that simple. And the other thing you of course want to change is the description of the event, okay, and the name. So the name you're going to call SD strategy meeting by invitation only, and you're going to customize that to your own agency. So whatever your own agency is called, you're going to call it HD strategy meeting by invitation only. Okay, so let's put this agency name, strategy meeting by invitation only. Okay, and then you go ahead and copy paste this text. Okay, as you can see, this text is a little bit different and it's a little bit more exclusive. Okay, so it reads, this is a scheduling page for businesses that have been personally invited for a 45-minute strategy session with Stage Digital. Okay, now you can also edit this to 30 minutes depending on the time frame that you choose. All right, okay, actually, even though ours is set to 30 minutes right now because we don't have a lot of time in our calendar, I recommend that you guys start out by setting this one to 45 minutes because it gives you and the client a little bit more time to talk all the details through. Okay, so yeah, you'll be talking to Center Stage and perhaps one or more of the SD team members depending on your company description and needs. Okay, so obviously we've tailored this text to an agency that has team members like my agency. But for those of you who are starting out with, without team members, you're just going to put your own name in here. So you're just going to be talking, you're going to be talking to Sanders Stage about all your business strategies and what we could do for you. Okay. So obviously you can copy and paste both of these texts. They're different. There's one for cold, which is cold, and there's one for warm, which is more exclusive and personalized, and you can customize them however you want. But here are the foundations. Okay. These texts are the building blocks. Okay. So that's going to be it for this module, guys. That is how to use Calendly for your agency. Okay. For scheduling events. Okay. And as I said, this is the catalyst to a lot of these outreach methods that you'll learn how to do in this particular phase. Okay, by adding Calendly to the equation, you'll be able to schedule 2 to 3 times more meetings using these outreach methods because it's just that streamlined. Okay, now obviously, as you've seen in the systems and tools module, you're gonna use Zoom in conjunction with Calendly, right? So when they book in a meeting with you, you want that meeting to be scheduled for Zoom, as you saw I selected, right? Now, when you set up your Calendly account, you want to connect your Zoom and your calendar, okay? It's really self-explanatory. Literally, you do all of those things when you sign up for Calendly. You can select to connect your Zoom and to connect your calendar, okay? Very self-explanatory. I can't show you how to do those things because it depends on what calendar you're using, right? So I'm using the Apple calendar, but a lot of you might be using the Google calendar, right? So that would be a different setup, but it's really, really self-explanatory. Just select the calendar you're using and then select Zoom during the setup and sign up process, and it will literally all be integrated. Okay, it's a very self-explanatory setup process. So that's going to be it for this module on how to set up the 2 most important event types you have inside of Calendly. One for cold meetings, so those who schedule a meeting through your website, which you're going to learn how to embed onto your website later in the academy. And then one for the warm invitation, which is the more exclusive and personalized 45-minute meeting invitation that we're going to include with a lot of the outreach that we do to potential clients. Okay, so without any further ado, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next module.